Okay, here's my wiring tutorial on a 2003 ALH TDI. Gonna try to fit it all in one video. It's kind of windy today, but get it all done so you don't have to watch a 10-part episode on it. It really isn't that hard. Okay, so starting with the interior, I do it with most of the dash intact. I've seen a lot of people pull the whole dash out, but I guess, I don't know, maybe that's easier. Doesn't seem like a whole lot of work here. But starting with the fuse box, pull everything out. Put those fuses there. That might even be more than you need, but just get rid of any hot wires that you don't have to deal with. And yeah, so then you can cut these going up here to the lights, and then as you move down that, you can cut this right here, and this actually ends up getting pulled clear out. You can cut it off. It's just dead. It'd just be dead wires in there. You've got the communication port. Now there's this box here that's mounted in there. That gets thrown. And so all of these relays, they start out in this guy here. And if you just take them out one at a time, you can pop them right back into the spot they go. You can get rid of all of them eventually if you feel like it, but just so I remember which one's which, I put them back in there, and you've got this guy here. So that's about it there. You just got to really rip this out. There's a spot right here. No, that's the one we already cut. And it goes up and over the steering column. It does help to pull the steering column down off and on. And then these wires here go up into the back of the key, and you can pull these off, and these two black wires, I believe, are the power, and then there's also two red power, or those are, you connect those together and that will turn the car on, turn the key on anyway. And then you've got an extra ground up here. It's really important to keep track of all the grounds if you're not going to redo the whole harness. There's another set right here you've got to undo as well. And anyways, that's about it that you cut over here on this side. And then when you go over to the other side of the harness here, you can see right there, just past the gas pedal, go ahead and chop that where it's going the other direction, going towards behind the radio. And then it's really hard to get into this spot here, but this is tied into that harness and goes up here to the instrument cluster. You've got to cut that, or you can either cut it back in there or cut it up here and pull it through. Once you get all the ties and everything, you really got to fight with this plastic to get it all loose, but it's not terrible. Really, when you're cutting it, you just got to think logically. Once it goes past whatever you need, say the gas pedal, you're not going to need anything after that, so cut it there. And then same thing over here. Once it goes up to the lights, anything like that, you can cut right here where it goes down to the floor. You can cut that right there, just like that. Now there's two spots that it goes through the firewall. Right here, and you'll actually pull it through from the outside. And then it's got this big cluster here of connectors. And those are sitting in this box here, up like that. You've got to take them apart, pull them out of the box, pull the box out, and then you'll be able to pull it through. I hooked them back up just so you could see what was going on there. Okay, and now we're in the engine bay here. I've got it pretty well taken apart so we could see everything. There's a lot of plastic covering all of the wiring there, and then you've got to pull it out from underneath the wiper blades there. But here's where it comes out of the top. You can see down in there those plugs. You pull those out, disconnect them, pull them through this cap here, and then once it gets up here, then it goes across to the ECU, and that's going to be tucked down in there. You'll have to slide that out. And then the transmission computer, if it's an auto, you'll be able to cut that off right there. But that wire, there's just a little wire that comes off of there, and it goes down and it goes behind the fuel lines, clear down underneath here. You got to pull all this stuff up, and it's the only wire with it, and it goes right down to the map sensor. So you got to save that sensor there. But there's only one other cable that comes over here, and it does not, it goes over here and then it goes down and follows along, but it's all for the coolant level sensor, the wiper, the washer fluid, the headlight on that side. So you can actually go ahead and cut that clear back here where these grounds come out. So again, save all the grounds, but basically anywhere it goes away from stuff that you need, cut it off. Anything hanging, for the most part, if it's a sensor, like these are going to the wiper, you don't need those. This goes over to the marker light over there, and then from there it moves down. Right here you can see the other port where it goes through, down in there. Got to pop that out, and then when it's coming out here, it's hooked to the ABS module. You can just cut that off right there. And I don't know why they didn't just leave it as one bundle, but they both come down here and then tie together. And then this goes over, if you're going to run a mass airflow sensor, that's right there. And then you've got the two vacuum solenoids for the EGR and the N75 for the turbo actuator. You'll need to save at least clear over to the turbo actuator. And then it keeps moving down here. You won't need your battery cables. You'll just need this positive going to all these, mostly just for the glow plug relay system if you want to save that. And then it also is the main power to everything. So then that, it curls around here, and there's a plug on the side here that I don't know why it's even there, but not a whole lot of this makes sense. You just got to live with it. And there's a bunch of grounds down here. You got to unhook all those, and they run over here. And then there's the fan control unit there. You can cut that right there, and you can actually end up cutting it back even farther, just so you keep these grounds. And then from there, they kind of bunch up. Again, you don't need the battery cables, but you've got to get these here. This plug goes over to the alternator, as well as the alternator power wire right here. There we go, right there. And then this is the main control for the injection pump and most of the sensors on the engine. They're going to be right there. They're kind of hard to unhook if you want to actually disconnect it from the engine, but you just got to go through and unplug each of these plugs, and they'll pop out. And then the only other one is right here. This is going over to the transmission for the automatic. It'll still go over there for the manual, but You got your speed sensor straight down here, you want that. But everything else here, you can cut off. I think, I shouldn't say this is for sure the speed sensor. It actually might be this one. Anyways, this big connector here is to control the transmission. You can cut that one, and these other ones pop off pretty easy. So, and then this one over here, that one can get cut as well. So that loosens that up. And at that point, it's ready to pull the whole thing out. And I left it all hooked up to where I can fire it up here and show you it working. So once you're ready to pull the harness, then you go ahead and disconnect these two here, pull this plug from right there. You've got this one that's going over to the alternator, and then after you've got this cut and pulled, and then unhook that connector there, this is all ready to come right through that hole over there. So then you can go ahead and pull that out. And once you've got this cut from over there, here's your two wires here for your brake pedal and your gas pedal. This will just be cruise shut off. Then this was up in there above the steering column, and it just, once you get all that plastic loosened up there, you about need a pry bar in there to break it up. Then it'll just all pull out there, and then you can go ahead and pull this guy through. Now we've got the whole harness is pulled out of there, out of the firewall, ran it over here, got all the inside stuff laying here. I did figure out there was one more fuse, that 7.5 amp, that powers your communication port. So, and then you can hear whenever you connect these, you can hear it's getting power there. And got my code reader set up here, reading live data off of the ECU, so it's communicating. And that only requirement for that is right here where your cluster wires come in. There's a K line. The communication wire is a gray with a white stripe, and it was going into the cluster wires, and then there's a bunch of other K lines going out to where by the radio that we cut. So I can't remember which one exactly. You only need one of these, but there's three going over there. You twist them to the one that was going to the cluster, and then that sends it back to the ECU. So, and then obviously we don't have a starter key anymore because we disabled the trans, so I just cut the wire going there. And with all the fuses out, you can connect this. You've got it on. Hit a reset here. Get that reading. And yeah, gas pedal's hooked back up out here. So we're good to fire up. And there you go. So what you choose to do with the rest of this is up to you. But it can easily be taped off and hidden under the dash if you don't want to mess with it. That's what it takes to make it run. Oh, actually, and the only other thing you'll have to modify is it gives you a dead pedal when you first fire it up if it can't see the transmission, the speed sensor. You'll have to wire that in, otherwise it'll run just like this. You can put in whatever you want.